Yo, good morning. You guys ready to go? Happy Monday. Let's go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Forex.Today, the YouTube community of almost 20,000 foreign exchange traders. We gathered today to conduct technical and fundamental analysis, even go through the calendar. If you got a question, let me know. I will do my best to help. That is the raison d'etre. I want to help you become a successful Forex trader through patience and discipline, not through trying to get rich quick, because that's a child's or fool's game. So let's build a business that creates value. How about that? That's what I'm interested in. So ask questions and I will try to help. While you're here, would you please click the thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and leave a comment under the recording. Speaking about under the recording, under the video, you will see that there is a description that leads you to links that lead you to additional resources for help. Things like free training video courses, things like a link to my book on Amazon.com, a link for paid training courses, a link to my chart templates, and a link to tradersway.com, whom are a trustworthy broker that seems to me is built on sound business principles, things like ethics. Yes, they have fast execution speed, narrow spreads, huge swaps, but again, ultimately, you need to choose or make a choice of execution partner based on trust. I trust tradersway.com. They earned my loyalty and respect. Maybe they can earn yours, develop the relationship, or start the relationship by opening up a demo account. Tradersway.com. Link is in the description below. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results, but please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, never risk money cannot afford to lose. So I figure we'll start with the calendar today. Trying something new, a new drink. All right. A lot going on in the world today. It's going to take everything you got. All right. We'll zip over right to the RBA decision. Okay. That's coming up hot and fast. And the statement, which is most important. How are things with trade? What about the slowdown in China? How is that impacting demand for things like iron ore and coal? What about inflation in Australia? What about the housing market? All of that's going to be in that, not necessarily the statement, but you can dive into that information. So it'll be all on their website. Jumbo. Okay. How do you join your live trading group, Wayne? You join fxbootcamp.com. Link is in the description below. It's $88 per year. I know. $88 per year. And then it says, hey, if you want to join one of the live groups, the upgrade buttons are at the bottom of the page after you log in. So it'll show all the parts of the site you have access to, and you can unlock the live groups. Super simple, takes you less than a minute. Prod MLI says, hey, Wayne, what would you recommend someone do? Trade one pair or 5 or more trades? I actually answered that in my book almost 20 years ago. There's a whole chapter on that. And the answer is you should learn and specialize on one particular currency. Learn things about the economy, about their trade and their position of power in the world, whether they're an importer and exporter. Learn a little bit about their business model, so on and so forth, and specialize in that one currency. Not a currency pair, one currency. So maybe euro. And you would say, oh, well, this euro is adversely affected by high energy prices and the supply constraints created by the invasion of the Ukraine. And therefore, you're net short euro. And you would know about the ECB and the policies coming up, where the ECB may be raising interest rates soon. And you say, well, how do you know they're going to raise interest rates soon? When you look at the yield on their bonds, on their treasuries, and they went from negative 0.5 to 0 recently, which means the market is already assuming rate hikes, maybe as much as 50 basis points, at least not negative yields anymore in Europe. And that's all coming in at the ECB. How would you know all that kind of information? You would specialize in the euro. So any idiot can trade. You can throw down 100 trades. It still makes you a lousy trader. You have to have a reason behind what you're trading. And so start with that reason. Specialize. Think about it. You can't be a jack of all trades. You should be a specialist in something. So you should know one currency better than anybody else on the planet. Okay, Prod? Producer? Hey, Daniel's fine. I send him messages once in a while, and he pings me once in a while. He's loving life, living large. He's all good. All right, so anyways, RBA interest rate decision and the statements. So you got work to do tonight. You got some reading to do. Okay? Remember, half the benefit is if you're ever actually going to be a professional trader one day, it's just great when you're having a drink or a coffee or whatever and you're working with your clients and you're like, I'll say, well, that's a really good point. You know, last night I was reading the RBA statement, and one of the things that, you know, would agree with you would be blah, 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 blah. And you just get to drop the fact that you actually downloaded, printed, and read the RBA, right? You actually downloaded and read the RBA statement. Makes you a professional. Aaron started the swing trading group last night. Can't wait. Sweet. Did you watch the video? The video is available. The recording. All right, so we move on. Okay, we move on here. FOMC meeting minutes. Very, very important, once again, for you to download and print and read and see what they're thinking. And did they discuss 50 basis point rate hikes? What else did they discuss? What do they agree on? What do they not agree on? Hey, Wayne, where do you do your live from last week, Friday? That was fxstreet.com. So on their YouTube channel. I've been doing a collab with them. I think it was the 16th anniversary. Yeah, I think Friday was the 16th year of me doing that every month. Okay? Coolio. Swiss National Bank unemployment rate. I don't know if you care about the Swiss unemployment rate, but I can tell you that in a recent report released over the last few days, the Swiss have mentioned the amount in which they have intervened in the market, and it's significantly less than the amount they had to intervene last year. How cool is that? ECB policy meeting. Okay. Little speech by Williams. Okay. Friday, dominated by Canada. Kitty Cat jobs report. And we got inflation out of China on the weekend. We know that that's probably a negative number. Prod's in. We got him. Prod MLI is in. We got him. Fell in the trap. You're going to be logging in every day, Prod. Is that right, Marina? 10 years, huh? That's cool. That is really cool, huh? Well, one of the things I appreciate is at one point you were providing very honest critiques and criticism. And I hope you feel that I listened and I responded in the best I possibly could. It ain't getting better. You helped me find my peak. Raised the bar. So anyways, yeah. Cool. Coolio. All right, so look, I'm on next week already. So we got, right, inflation out of China. This is interesting because we'll learn, it's backwards looking, of course, but one of the things we're watching as macroeconomists is the recovery in China. Oh, right on. That's good. That's good news. Thank you, Marina. That's good news. I'll see you in Cape Town, huh? Oh, yeah. Got to put that back on the map. Go to Cape Town. All right. So we got that. And then lots of data out of Great Britain, huh? Monday and Tuesday, just all pound, 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 pound. So much going on. And yes, this is next week. I understand that. Okay. GDP, manufacturing data, unemployment data. And this is important because, well, actually, let me ask you, why would next week Great British Pound, all this data, why is this important? Yes, Aaron, just log into the swing trading group, and it's on the right-hand side. And you got to log in with a PC, not with mobile. Richard says for China, looking for lockdowns. Yeah, and variants, right? There's an Omicron variant, apparently. It's Omicron, but it's slightly different than Omicron in China. But going back to pound, why do we care? Pound. Why do we care about next week? Why am I bringing it up now? Highlander says, am I anticipating another COVID wave? We haven't cured the Spanish flu from World War I. Why would we cure COVID? We're going to have COVID mutations every year for the rest of your life, and then the rest of your children's life, and the rest of your children's life. It's just the nature of the beast. The thing is, you just won't die of it. Richard says, because Bailey speaks. No. Okay. Hey, Dad says, I can't deposit from his region. Move. I don't know. Okay. Now, Johnny says, because the Bank of England is raising rates and then halted, and then may re-implement the rate hikes. Yes. And there's actually something more interesting on top of all that. That's 100% correct. But for 110%, for the bonus points, you have to take it one step further and say the Bank of England was front-running the Fed. They raised by 15 basis points, then by 25. Then the Fed raised. And the Fed told us they were going to keep raising 25 basis points. Well, one rate hike of 50 basis points and a second rate hike of 50 basis points are being priced in right now into the U.S. market. All you have to do is look at the Fed funds futures market, and you'll see that what's getting priced in, not completely, but real money is being put to work with the assumption of 125 basis points of rate hikes in the United States by July. 50-50-25. Well, I want you guys to think. You ready for this? I'm sorry. I want you guys to think. If the Fed is not just raising hikes, but raising the velocity, how will that impact every other central bank on the planet? Think of it. If your central bank, if you live outside the United States and your central bank is pegged to the United States, well, they got to jack up interest rates. What's Mexico going to do? What's South Africa going to do? What's the Bank of England going to do? If suddenly they're 1% below the Fed funds rate. You see that? And that to me is fantastically more interesting than just the idea of, like, the Bank of England was raising interest rates. Great. They did front run the Fed. Great. Then they were worried about the war in the Ukraine. Gotcha. So then they hesitated. Makes sense. And now the whole world has changed again. Again. Because they were raising interest rates. And they're like, this is strange. A whole new world. We're finally raising interest rates. And then all of a sudden, whoa, there's a war. Everything changed again. Wait, we can't raise in the middle of a war. And then boom, Fed's jacking up interest rates way faster. And they're like, oh my God, now we're in a whole different world again. Seems like every 3 or 4 weeks, there's a whole new world with a fantastic point of view. Because way up here, it's crystal clear. I'm in a whole new world with you. So anyways, yeah. So what Bank of England might say, oh my God, we're 1% below the Fed funds rate. They may have to change their trajectory. Richard says, but GDP raised another 1.3% could sustain it. Well, it would be silly to raise interest rates higher than growth. So, yeah. So you got to find your neutral rate, right? Cool. So anyways, think of that. Now, a lot of policies might need to change. Europe might raise interest rates to 0, which is strange, right? Raise interest rates to 0. Bank of England might have to change from going from 25 basis points to more than 25 basis points. The Fed is probably already doing it. Well, again, how will that affect Mexico? Okay. Imagine Mexico and South Africa had to compete with each other for foreign direct investment. How do they do it? They have similar risks of being an emerging market. South Africa has some additional risks. And Mexico has a bit of an advantage being right next door to the United States. And so one way they compete is, well, how much they're willing to pay for the loans. We call that an interest rate. So if the Fed funds rate is going up, let's say 1% in the next couple of months, Mexico, for example, could raise interest rates 1.5% to 2% in that time period. Interesting, huh? So that should be on your mind already, because we're only talking about next week. CPI in the middle of the month comes out next week. Okay, that's important, but we already know it's high, but maybe it starts to come down a bit. Probably not yet. Okay, we probably need a couple of months of normal oil prices. Import-export data out of China. Because that will help you with the Aussie dollar. RBA interest rate decision. Yep. Pound. Yep. Kitty CAD interest rate decision and monetary policy report. Read it. Okay. Aussie inflation, retail sales in the United States to see if oil prices are too high or prices at the stores are too high and killing demand. So that's the next 2 weeks, guys. This week leads to next week, and next week's super important. Also, next week, we're approaching the deadline for contributing to your personal retirement accounts. So that's kind of interesting. We're probably starting earnings season. Okay, so that's all coming. The next couple of weeks are important. Okay. Today, I think, is the basketball game today, or was it last night? I missed it. I think it's today, right? Kansas, North Carolina. Also, I'll be away Wednesday, Thursday. I'll be at the Masters, a little golf tournament here in Augusta, Georgia. Yeah, I know they don't sell tickets. I get it. I understand. Yeah, you can't buy tickets. They don't sell tickets. And it's the most important golf game of the year. So why do I get to go? Well, it's a privilege of being a supermodel. Hey, don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I'll be back on Friday. Everything will be good. Thursday, in fact, I should be here in time to do our group meeting. Okay. So anyways, that's kind of a warm-up to the beginning of Q2. There's a lot going on in the next couple of weeks, fundamentally and seasonally. Like seasonally, I'll say things like you're like, Wayne, what do you mean by seasonality? Well, we'll just say, okay, we're starting earnings season. That's not a technical thing. That's not really fundamental, but it's an event that can lead to the stock market rising or declining. There are some people that are afraid that the stock market is about to decline significantly. Well, if that were to occur, you would see this in the beginning of seasonality. Companies would start reporting how they did in the first quarter, and we find out that prices are so high that nobody bought their stuff. And the prices had to be high because their input costs were high. Okay? They had to buy raw material, combine them together in the right way, and then end up with a finished product, which they need to sell to you. But the input costs went up 30%. So they raised the price of the finished product by 30%. And you're like, oh, I can't pay that. It's too expensive. And demand dies. So that company now has lots of inventory. They already paid the expenses. They probably took on loans, and they lack the same revenue they normally have versus this time a year ago or this time 5 years ago. And people are like, oh my God. XYZ company had very low sales, very high expenses, and therefore was unprofitable. Okay? End of the world. Stock market comes down, and that's really bad. And I forget who, some big shot made that call, like, yep, the stock market's about to crash. I'm like, okay, well, that's either a wild guess, or they've interviewed maybe 30, 40, 50 companies and did research to figure out how profitable or unprofitable companies in the United States are doing. And they've already done the research, and they can foresee the future through their enlightenment. Or they're a bunch of press release pig dogs. They like to throw out BS opinions. One of the two. Okay, anyways, anywho, that's for you to decide as well. I like to talk to people. That's where I get my research. And I think I told you the story where I was at the farmer's market and there was a food truck called the Greek man, the falafel guy. I don't know, something like that. And I talked to him, and he has 8 trucks fully staffed, and they're already booked for the rest of the year. I want you to think about that. The guy with the Greek food truck at my farmer's market has 7 or 8 of these trucks. He was able to hire staff, so they're all fully staffed, so he's got about 25 employees. And they're booked for the end of the year. And I think, yeah, Apple can still sell phones. Isn't that funny? Cell phones. They can still sell phones. Yeah, they'll do fine. Okay. Ford Motor Company, they're still selling cars. A lot of cars, actually, compared to last year. So on and so forth. So, anyways, I have my opinion. They have theirs. Oh, man, it looks like I missed a trade by 3 pips. Oh, my God. All right, let's move on.com. Okay, looks like overnight. Oh, wait, that shouldn't be daily. No wonder. I'm like, I don't recognize that. Okay. Overnight, there was some dollar strength, and it's hesitating here. Okay, move this. Okay, little bit of dollar strength, yen strength, and then some hesitation. So that's interesting, right? Yen up, but dollar up. Okay, fine. There's an ebb and flow of what's going on around the world right now. Okay. Swiss franc basically neutral. Keep your eye on parity. Oil's been down, but CAD is still up. Apparently $100 a barrel is still enough for Canada. They won't complain about it. They might even apologize. Hey, I'm really sorry, 100. Huh? 100. So sorry, $100. Come on, pay it up. Not loonies either, Okay, come on, pay it up, $100. Really sorry. I apologize, it's $100. Yeah, it works, man. Works. Euro's down. Not much good news coming out of this situation in the Ukraine. My media outlet told me lots of things this morning. That Russia is worse than ISIS, and that the 400 people murdered in one of the towns is genocide. Oh, that's pretty extreme. So anyways, extreme language coming out of the media. I even heard that there was a surprise appearance by Zelensky at the Grammy Awards where rich Americans give each other awards for their favorite music. And I'm like, wait, it was a surprise? Like, what, Ukrainian soldiers walked into the room, kicked down the door, went to the stage, and set up a Zoom meeting? Like, how it was a surprise? I'm like, well, how did they pull that off? Because it sounds like it was probably scheduled. Not surprised. But anyways, so I was saddened by my media this morning as usual. But once again, I do prefer peace. And I hope we can get this conflict to an end. Okay. Anyways. Okay. And there's our pound. At some point, we want to like track how it's doing. Okay. Pound was weak rolling into April 1st. And then here we are, some strength from then. Could be interesting. Remember, I'm trying to get you to think 2, 3, 4 weeks in advance. So that's why I brought up Bank of England versus Fed. Bank of England might have some catch up to do, and you might be surprised what they do next, but your TV and your newspaper and your blogger feed, they're not even going to talk about that, for another couple of weeks. And that's why I want you to think about it now. Alejandro says, what do I think about the yen? Or any comment on the yen? Well, you should know my fundamental or seasonal bias on yen. I've talked about it 100 times in the last 100 days. And so as of last night, right, my expectation for yen is up. So it's an amazing coincidence, but up. And of course, we're fighting the Bank of Japan and a bunch of other things need to happen and all that. I gotcha. Yeah. Good. So it's not instantaneous, but that's a start. We can take a look at commodities as a way to try to measure supply and demand. Okay. Oil was back at 100 and now is trying for some up. Makes sense to me. We hit the psych level. Okay. There's our printed on a 4-hour. You got to drop into a much smaller time frame. Okay. And simple enough, you could have bought it at 100 and now it'd be at 103. Yep. That's how that works. And you're like, Wayne, I didn't know $100 would be a psych level. Well, then you got some work to do yourself. So that shows a bottom, right? A psychological bottom. And it'll be very technically interesting if we start breaking above this gray area, because we look at that as sort of somewhat of a role reversal. Or maybe it's such old data, it's irrelevant now. Okay? It could just be old data. And you should revise. So for example, let's go back into a 15-minute chart, give it a couple of clicks in, and you set this up not looking for resistance, but looking for support. Could be. Or you get out of this completely and you use what I like, for example, is a confluence of pivot points. Okay? And now you'll look at it and say, oh. Okay? You're like, oh, maybe this had to do with the monthly M2 and the weekly M2 at 99.8. 99.8 as a bottom predicts 114.1 as a top. Oh. And potentially 134. Oh. And that you could have easily been here 3 hours ago, prepared, ready, willing, and able to take a triple bottom. Ah. But you weren't. Oh, boo. Right? And now you have to react. Now the reaction function's riskier. Because now you should know bears are living in this zone here. So now you want to buy it after it rallied for 3 hours straight. Well, son, that's a little slow. Cool, Lucas. Okay. Okay, because I can tell you bulls on oil, we're looking at this zone. It was very specific. Okay, that's all bulls. And bears really are kind of like, it's mediocre, but it's right. And then they got more above us and more above that. So it's much more, bullish than bearish. Okay. And if you go through my YouTube videos and probably on the FX Bootcamp YouTube videos, for years and years and years, I taught you that's even the right time to be ready to take that trade. How many people have learned from me the time to trade gold and oil for the New York session? And by the way, it's not 8 o'clock. Okay. So if you roll in now and you're like, oh, look, oil's up, you're not a trader. Nope. Cool. So, awesome. Ave Maria. 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 All right. Here we go. What do you stink? Okay. Bitcoin trapped off the top. Okay. A breach below 45 is going to be, a technical problem, huh? Yeah. Little risk off in there. Yeah, plausible. Or we're just waiting for the beginning of a new quarter. Okay. Okay. Do you remember this chart? Back when we were at 37,000, I said we were on our way to $78,500. Okay. So back at 37, at the middle of January, we were saying 78,000. That's the trade plan. I don't know if you pay attention to any of this. I know we do it together. I don't know if you write it down or care, but we would expect some sort of consolidation in this zone in which we are respecting the prices. And then at some point, we work our way up like this. Cool. Cool. Cool beans. So with that in mind, and when I go to a 15-minute chart, and I tell you that this is one of the first prices we talked about in January, and it's now April, and we do a 1 top, a 2 top, a 3 top, a 4, a 5 top, a 6 top, a 7 a top, more. I ask you, what is the importance of 47,600? Well, it's actually strategically very important. And price action like this tells me that you're not alone. I know, you're like, oh my God. Yeah, sorry, I got 6 hours sleep today. I got too much energy. Okay, I will trade with you. So anyways, we're kicking off that 8 top, an 8 top. Clearly, sophisticated traders have the same black line as me, which gives me confidence. And then I have to wait my turn. If I know I'm a bull, I know what to do next. If I know I'm a bear, you know, I kind of already missed out. Like, really, Wayne? It only hit it 8 times. I'd like to wait. I like to wait for 10 touches before I sell. I'm like, oh, well, you're very conservative. Big fella says someone is keeping it at that price. I don't know about keeping. I don't look at that and see sellers. I see buyers selling. Now, this might be a sell in here, maybe, but whatever. I see this at the beginning of the first quarter. I see people doing what they need to do. Like, for example, here's the first quarter. Okay. What did people do right before the first quarter? The day before. What did investors in Bitcoin do the last day of the quarter? Take profit. Why? Rebalancing, kinda. Tax, no. Okay. Well, their numbers look, well, yeah. I mean, it's not that their numbers look good. They have to book the profits to show it on their quarterly report to clients. Yeah. And then they bought it back the next day. Yep. That's it. Now, why this price? Over and over and over and over and over again. It was programmed in the algorithm a year ago. Implemented probably right at the beginning of the year, or even late in December. We knew these numbers in December. Okay? I'm trying to show you that bigger investors do things logically, but probably different from you because you need to incorporate a little bit more of what they do. For most retail traders, you just show up. It's the same. Every day is the same. You always trade euro dollar, no matter whether euro's strong or euro's weak or dollar strong or dollar weak. You trade the same 3 pairs, maybe. When you do the same thing and you throw down some trades and you love your MACD and that's that. And then you take off all your trades. You made 3 trades, 2 of them were winners, 1 was a loser. You square out your account so there's no trades, and you go away and you come back tomorrow. It's just not how to do it. It's just not how to trade properly. So anyways, if we could, right, sharpen your technicals, because you got to be really good at technicals. Come on, you have to. You have to be very good at the short term. But there's longer term stuff you need to incorporate. And just little things like, I want you to look at that and say, this is the large institutional Bitcoin trader, not your cousin. This is not your cousin with a Robinhood account. But large institutional investors, months ago, do you understand? Months ago, popped in this line. It was an important mathematical equation. They gave a number. It said, this, right? This ain't going over 48,000. Not now. Now, later in the quarter, probably. So you have to decide. Some of these traders bought it back. What are the rest of the traders going to do? What will you do if it does this? What will you do if it does this? What will you do if it does this? What will you do here, here, or here? I'm telling you, this is how you trade. You should print the chart out, draw it, and if it does either of those, do that. Okay? So somebody bought it around 45, and they're going to take it up to 75. Yeah, Darko, yeah, implementing Python with MT5 is doable. There's better ways, though. There's better ways of doing that. But you might want to talk to Ryan. He's explored all of that as a Python developer, doing the algos. But there's better ways of doing it. So it can be done, but there are better ways. So approach Ryan about that, and you can have a conversation, I'm sure. Okay. But my point is you don't even really need the algos. My point, right, it isn't that you should have an algo. What my point is, back in January or even December, an investment committee got together to invest their billion-dollar hedge fund into cryptocurrencies. And they came up with a plan. They said, buy it around this price and stay in it for a year or two until it goes way up there to 80 something. And then they were done. Okay? So how big are their stop losses? I don't know. I don't know that. But I'm telling you, that's how they trade. Okay? And you made a lot of money, and then you lost a lot of money right in here. And other people are like, oh, yeah, well, that's the central. Okay? So it might come all the way down, and then might come back up, and might come down, and then it'll come up. And, they're looking at much more other things like the macro economy. Okay? The business cycle. And it's not just business, it's political. Okay, the Fed, both good and bad, the overprinting by the Fed and by the Treasury directly impacts people's belief in cryptocurrencies. Again, the idea that I believe the White House created 100% of our inflation. The Fed did not create our inflation. Okay, the federal government created the inflation. Right? So that would take someone that has a long-term belief in cryptocurrencies say, okay, the Fed printed $5 trillion, if you want to call it printing, right? The Fed bank, and then the federal government also printed $5 trillion. For a combined U.S. response to COVID, $10 trillion. And a crypto guy would say, that is why we need crypto. And then specifically, this is why you need cryptocurrency. So yeah, all that goes in there. The business cycle, the political cycle, the macroeconomic conditions, the whole sort of argument for cryptocurrencies in the beginning, okay? So they're like, yeah, buy it low. That's about the right price. Hang on to it for a year or two. Done. Okay? And we're sweating bullets over somebody's Twitter feed. Okay? Darko says, hey, should they sell up here? Well, if you like selling higher highs, that sounds like a good plan. I hate selling higher highs. So if I were me, I would look for this first. Big fella says, hey, I think you're right. Well, thank you for agreeing with me. It makes the conversation better. Cool. Because I believe it. That's what I believe. Okay. Cool. Gold kicking off of our bottom here. Cool. Holding on the April low. So if you're bullish on gold, you've already missed the April low and has a ways to go yet. Okay. So looking at that crypto thing, I'm just saying there's analysis that can be done for you to develop a strategic plan. Retail traders don't have strategic plans. They provide liquidity for the markets. Sometimes they make a profit, sometimes they lose. Most of the time they lose, but they provide liquidity for everybody else. So you got to be careful if you don't have a strategic plan. So one of the things we worked on in the day trading group, the swing trading group last night and the week before and the week before that, is the idea of having, a bias or a strategy or an outlook for the second quarter. Okay. Okay. Second quarter. If you don't have a plan for the second quarter, you are behind. Okay. You should have been doing that at least 3 weeks ago. And again, if someone had told me that when I first started trading Forex, it would have blown me away. Because I was no different. I would just show up and I would look at what happened overnight. That's as far as I got. I'd do overnight analysis. Now I'd spend over an hour doing that analysis. But that's how it worked. I did overnight analysis of volatility. Okay. It was in here, it showed bid, ask, and then you could have vol, and it showed percentage red or percentage green, right? Percentage up, percentage down. So it might say USD Swiss franc, plus 0.43. Okay. Therefore, pound dollar would be like negative 0.62. And I'd just go through all that overnight volatility and I'd create a plan based on the vol. Then I would do the technical analysis, and then I'd enter the trades. So it wasn't necessarily fundamental, and I certainly couldn't tell you what was going to happen 3 months later. But like I said in my book, when I first started trading, I sucked. And after blood, sweat, and tears for years, I began to suck less and less. Okay. Take a look at exotics. Okay. In the swing trading group last night, we trapped this. Maybe let's put this on an hour. Maybe click out one. We had this trap like this. And now if I zoom in, okay, so we had this printed as a top. Since then, it's come down to the 21, up, breached the 21, lower high, and now it's trying to make a lower low. Okay. So all we did was trap this. We trapped it with the top, and we trapped it with the bottom. Of course, we talked about it for 20 minutes on how to do it and why to do it and where to do it and what does it all mean and all that kind of stuff. But generally, we had it trapped, and the idea is, or was, because you're quite late now, it's already fallen 50% of the range, but the idea is you either sell it here or you sell it here. Ask in the day trading group, Master. Okay. Now looking over here, this one was a little more bearish because it was still making lower highs and lower lows. So we zoom in here. And now we can drag this. Okay. Cool. Okay, so that's kind of interesting to see what happens next. One of the thoughts is that if the United States raises interest rates by a full percentage point, Mexico will have to do at least that, but usually it's more. Usually if Fed goes 1%, Mexico would go 1.5 to 2%. And they're already well on their way to high interest rates. I mean, what a great website. I just love the Bank of Mexico. The main objective of Banco de Mexico is to maintain a low and stable inflation. Love it. Bold, clear, short, sweet, right in the top fold, center page. I love the Bank of Mexico. They are smart. That is clear. Love it. I love mission statements. It's actually an operational direction statement, an ODS, but hey, man. Hey, what does the Bank of Mexico do? The main objective is maintain low and stable inflation. Cool. So right now, they have 6.5% interest rate. 6.5, baby. And if the Fed goes higher, they go higher. Cool. Which means I get a payday. Cha-ching! Cha-ching! Payday. Well, not payday, pay raise. Every day I'll collect a little more money. Love it. I love me making money. I love money and I love me. And I love me with money. Oh, yeah. Cool. So, right on, man. That's what I'm thinking. Hey, but Wayne, where do I find the monetary policy statements? You mean this one right here on the homepage? Yeah, but where could I get, like, I don't know, a regional economic report? Yeah, you can. Okay. Great. It's great, man. I don't know if it started with Karsten's, but now I believe Karsten's is at the IMF, isn't he? Oh, he serves as the general manager for the Bank of International Settlements, which is the central bank for central banks. I know you're going to say, wait, what? There's a central bank for central banks? And central banks are banks for banks? Yeah. So anyways, so now he runs the BIS. Cool. Before that, it was, oh yeah, I guess he did some IMF time. The Secretary of Finance for Mexico, then the Bank of Mexico, and now the BIS. Cool. Now, if you dive into sort of the history of economics, you'll also note that he went to the Chicago School. Now, this says the University of Chicago, but there's a Chicago School of Economic Thought. Ooh. Chicago School of Economics Theory. The Chicago School is a neoclassical economic school of thought that originated at the University of Chicago in the 1930s. The main tenets of the Chicago School are that free markets best allocate resources in an economy and that minimal to even no government intervention is best for economic prosperity. Oh my God. Well, what about the Austrians? What about Keynes? Right here it says Marx. What about Marxism, Keynesianism? What else? It'll say it over there. Yeah, the Austrian school. Okay? All that kind of stuff. From all government to no government. And so anyway, so you're like, wait, what? So now you probably have a decent idea of how he ran Mexico as a minister of finance and then later head of their central bank. Cool, because you're like, oh, Carson's, yeah, from the Bank of Mexico? Yeah, he's awesome. He's a Chicago, right? Chicago school guy. Minimal government, right? Probably prefers John Locke, right? Do you guys read John Locke? John Locke was an English philosopher and physician, widely regarded as one of the most influential of Enlightenment thinkers and commonly known as the father of liberalism. No, not that liberalism. Think libertarian. What he said was, Your land is your land, and what you do with your land is up to you. And when it's on your land, it's your land. And if you're going to have a government, the only need for a government, besides building some roads and some schools, is to protect your private property. So if someone comes on your land and takes one of your cows, you can call the police and get your cow back and send that guy to jail. Beyond that, you don't need a government. Okay, so anyways, and then, of course, then you start studying other people after to say, well, you have a moral imperative. If you've grown wheat and you have excess wheat, you have a moral imperative to trade it. And John Locke would retort and say, well, if I just want to have it rot in the field, it's my wheat. And then someone else came along and said, well, you do have a moral imperative. If they're starving and your wheat is just rotting, why don't you sell it to them for money? And then you can acquire with your money additional types of private property. Okay. So anyways, cool. So I like Mexico. And it's working for me right now. Okay. Cool. So that's just continuing. And as reference, I'm short right there. Okay. Riding at 21, baby. Peter, Ripple. Yeah. Pete's got it. Cool. Right on. Yeah, there's a commercial they run here where some crypto investor, he's watching his phone and he's like, I'm a millionaire. Right? And he quits his job and he goes to a nightclub and then he's like, you know, models and bottles. And he looks at his phone. I'm not a millionaire. And he goes back to work next day. And he's like, I'm a millionaire again. Oh, no, I'm not a millionaire. I think Peter. I hope you make it big though, man. I hope it goes to $100, man. And then I'm like, yep. Peter's smiling. It's a funny commercial though, that's all. He's at the nightclub and he's like, I'm not a millionaire. But I just quit my job. Yeah. Yeah, just the backstory for people who don't know. Peter years ago was sending me emails, you know, paragraphs clearly articulating why Ripple was going to go from 0.00043, you know, to $1. Yeah. So it's been an amazing ride. Okay. So I guess we'll look at dollar pairs here. Okay. Euro seems to be weak. Aussie kicking off the 1 hour 21. Kiwi already Oscar Mike. Which I think kind of sucks because right before the webinar, I bought Aussie but not Kiwi. Kiwi's the one. Oh, dang it. Son of a... I sold USD CAD right before the webinar. Great. Cool. Great. Great. So it's trying. It's trying. It's just trying. There you go. I sold a little up. Chow. Take it down like a clown. Cool. I screwed up one. Okay, we got to do yens. So right before the webinar, I almost shorted Euro Yen. I'll tell you what I did. This is what I did. Okay, I got to get this out. Right before the webinar, I said, so where are we now? Oh, yeah. Okay, roll reversal. And I put a sell order right there. No. So it was like 15 pips away or something, and it came up 13 pips and then dropped like a ton of bricks. But what am I doing? I'm in the middle of a webinar. I can't kind of go in there and clean that up. And so, well, sometimes that happens to me when I'm live streaming. I can't do both. I'm not a multitasker. But missed it, I think. Oh, no, I misread it. No, I caught it. No, I got it. Oh, well. Clearly, I'm the greatest trader in the entire world. Yeah, no, I got it. I just looked at it. I must, I don't know. I got it. Cool. Yeah, I'm short Euro Yen. Sweet. Good. See? Look at that. I'm a millionaire. I'm not a millionaire. No, I got it. Apparently, I got it. I misunderstood. I thought that was my limit order, but there's a stop on it. So oh man, dude, I cut that one close. So anyways, I'm short. The only thing I'm short on yens is Euro Yen. Cool. Well, I feel better about that. All right, so we looked at some yens, we looked at some dollars, we looked at some exotics, we looked at commodities and cryptos. We went through the calendar. I think I'm done. I think that's it. I think that's good. That was a good morning, right? Shoot, we even talked about next week. Would you sprinkle some love and click the thumbs up button? I'm going to run an ad right here just to see if it helps YouTube make money. And then with that, I'd actually like to just say, thank you for being here. Please like, subscribe, and comment. It all helps YouTube. It helps the YouTube. I don't even know if it does. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know if it does. But I would love it if YouTube would promote our community a little more. Let a few more people in. Save a few more Forex souls. I'm not trying to sell you stuff. I'm not trying to teach you to or promote getting rich quick. I look at Forex as a business. I've been sitting here every day for 20 years. Like, look, I'm on the long run. You understand that? This is a long game for me. So I'm trying to promote the right ethics and qualities. And YouTube does not promote this community. Okay? I don't know why. What do I do wrong? I'm a young, good-looking guy. Or at least one of them. So I don't know. I'm going to start wearing tank tops or something. That seems to be promoted on my stream. Maybe if I wear tank tops, tight tank tops, my new thing. Anyways, peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Have a wonderful trading day. And I will see you later. If you're in my day trading group, I will see you tonight to set up Asia. If you're also in my day trading group, you'll meet with Ryan to set up Europe. For everybody else, I'll see you in the AM. Be good, be safe, trade right.